Good morning, and thank you for joining us all today. My name is Rania Menkerios. I'm the Executive Director of Crime Stoppers of Houston. October is recognized as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month across the nation, and each of the agencies represented here today share Crime Stoppers' desire to support victims and survivors of domestic violence while doing everything possible to prevent this type of crime and abuse from happening. Domestic violence is not, thank you. Domestic violence is not a private family issue. It is an issue each and every one of us must care about and get involved in. We know the toxicity of these relationships and families spills out into the community. We see violence against children, against animals, against additional family members, in the workplace and in the community at large. It is simply not a crime we can turn away from. Additionally, we know that in these times of stress, family violence only increases. We saw the peaks following Hurricane Harvey, and even though more than 1/4 of the state's domestic violence programs were in Harvey's path of destruction, and virtually all of them suffered damage, those committed to supporting victims and survivors never stopped working. Before we get started, I wanted to personally thank our partners who are here with us today: Carvana Cloud, the Harris County District Attorney's Office Family Criminal Law Unit Chief, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, Houston Police Department Chief Art Acevedo, Rebecca White, Houston Area Women's Center President and CEO, and Greg Mauney, representing our corporate partner Verizon. We're proud to once again be partnering with Verizon on this year's Safe Community Domestic Violence Awareness Initiative, aimed at building a greater understanding of what domestic violence is, encouraging Houstonians to take action to end abuse, and informing survivors about the options and resources that are available to them. Thank you, Verizon, for your generosity and support over the last 7 years. Without Verizon, we could not be doing the work we were doing. As part of our mission to solve crime, we have 10 domestic violence fugitives we would like to highlight today. Their photos are displayed on the screens behind me. We are asking the community to call with information. Jonathan Burnaby. Burnaby is wanted for assaulting a woman several times in front of her 4 children. After a verbal argument, he pushed her into a bed, put a pistol to her head, and threatened to kill her. Her sister threatened to kill her sister, and her father. Fearing for her life, the victim communicated that she was leaving. He proceeded to beat her several times with a belt. Needless to say, both the victim and family are living in fear. Marcos Calzada. Calzada is wanted for assaulting a woman by beating her in the arms and shoulders. In a jealous rage, he tied her wrists with packing tape, pulled out a knife, and threatened to end it by killing her. Kelvin Carter. Carter is wanted for assaulting a woman by placing a pocket knife with a 3-inch blade to her throat for 30 minutes. He additionally threatened to kill her and himself. His tirade began because the victim said she was leaving and did in fact try to leave. She was eventually able to get away and call for help. Carter is a repeat offender. Wissam Fahmy. Fahmy is wanted for assaulting his girlfriend at home while under the influence of alcohol. He cursed and yelled at her while threatening her life with a 12-inch kitchen knife. The couple has been together for 15 years and has 4 kids together, one of whom is 7 months old. Fahmy also threatened to harm that 7-month-old. He has an extensive criminal record. Hugo Galvez. Galvez is wanted for assaulting a woman after she refused to become intimate with him. He pushed her into a living room, pulled out a pocket knife, and threatened to kill her. She was able to leave the apartment with her kids. He followed her. Thankfully, she was able to get away. Jeremy Earl Goodwin. Goodwin is wanted for assaulting a family member after becoming upset. He pulled out a 4-inch pocket knife, cutting the victim's hand and chest. He also beat the victim with his crutches. Goodwin is a repeat offender. Prince Mitchell. Mitchell is wanted for assaulting his ex-girlfriend after an argument. Grabbing a knife, he threatened to kill her. Afraid for her life, the victim fled with their son in her vehicle. Mitchell aggressively chased her, screaming, "I am not going to jail without a fight." Kendall Williams. Williams is wanted for assaulting a woman after an argument. He grabbed her by the throat, preventing her from breathing. Almost to the point of passing out, Williams then took a pistol and struck the victim, causing lacerations. Williams is a repeat offender. Shonda Williams. Williams is wanted for physically assaulting the victim by scratching his body with her fingernails and cutting him in the cheek with a pair of scissors. Shunda is a repeat offender. Craig Taylor. Taylor is wanted for physically assaulting his ex-girlfriend numerous times after showing up unexpectedly at her apartment. During one of the altercations, he punched her in the face to the point that the bridge of her nose was nearly flush with her face. He is a repeat offender. If you have any information on any of these fugitives, please call our anonymous tip line at 713-222-TIPS. You may also report online at crime-stoppers.org or via our mobile app. As part of our mission to prevent crime, we have scheduled a free Safe Community Lunch and Learn starting promptly at 11:30 a.m. Following this press conference here in our Kroger Community Room, I would like to thank our panel in advance. Amy Smith of the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, Allie Jacobs with the Houston Area Women's Center, and Dr. Judith McFarland with the Texas Women's University. Before I invite Carvana Cloud, I want to once again thank Verizon for the gift that makes this program possible. We're so honored to have partners like this. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Carvana Cloud.
Thank you, Rania, and good morning. My name is Carvana Cloud, and I'm the Division Chief of the Harris County District Attorney's Office. On behalf of our elected District Attorney, Kim Ogg, let me say that our office is indeed honored to be joining Crime Stoppers along with the Houston Police Department Chief Art Acevedo, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, and other community partners who are here standing united today against the evil of domestic violence. The Family Criminal Law Division aggressively prosecutes domestic violence cases committed against intimate partners and family members. Our division is a team of professionals skilled and trained to handle domestic violence criminal cases with an emphasis on non-participating complainants and protective order cases. Every year, countywide, the District Attorney's Office files on average 7,000 domestic violence related charges. In 2016, the Family Criminal Law Division evaluated 3,100 family violence protective order applications, and of that number, we actually filed 1,300 applications at no cost for victims directly impacted by family violence. We also disposed of 3,000 criminal cases, yet unfortunately, just like this weekend, we are continuously reminded that the domestic violence homicides in our county mean that there is one life that is lost, and even with one life being lost, that is one life too many. These astounding statistics are proof that domestic violence continues to be a serious problem in Harris County, and even more so now as families manage the overwhelming stress caused by Hurricane Harvey. We serve the public every day, so we have seen how the stress of Harvey has negatively impacted the family unit and surely has exacerbated the presence of violence in many Houston homes. And because we understand that domestic violence affects all communities and does not discriminate based on race or socioeconomic status, the District Attorney's Office is proud to establish key partnerships with law enforcement and community stakeholders such as the Harris County Domestic Violence Coordinating Council to establish clear and enhanced policies and procedures to promote safety for all Harris County families, and most importantly, to ensure that batterers and offenders are held accountable for their criminal behavior, because domestic violence in Harris County will not be tolerated. If anyone is a victim of violence perpetrated by an intimate partner or a family member and needs a protective order or other safety resources, we encourage you to contact us at 713-274-0212 or visit us at our new Galleria area location, where we are working every day to make sure Harris County families and the community is safer through the evidence-based prosecution of domestic violence cases, which means guaranteeing a fair process with the goal of obtaining a just result for the victim, the accused, and the community in every case. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I am Ed Gonzalez, our Harris County Sheriff, and I want to thank Crime Stoppers of Houston for hosting us and bringing attention to the serious issue of domestic violence. During the Domestic Violence Month and throughout the entire year, you are encouraged to take a stand and speak out against domestic violence. The goal is to keep fighting until there is no tolerance for domestic violence. At the Harris County Sheriff's Office, we take very seriously our duty to protect those who are being abused by someone who is supposed to love them. This is one of the most important responsibilities we have, which is why we have a domestic violence unit tasked with investigating cases of abuse. And while this unit's work is always important, it is especially critical in the aftermath of a natural disaster such as Hurricane Harvey. Natural disasters displace people, leaving them to scrambling for stability and normalcy. For victims of domestic violence, this makes it even more difficult to escape their abusers many times. According to the World Health Organization, loss of property, unraveling social networks, and loss of income heighten stress during natural disasters. These circumstances can leave domestic violence victims especially vulnerable. After a disaster, victims of abuse may feel they have no choice but to stay with their abuser. Some who previously escaped their abusers may feel pressure to return for financial reasons or because they now believe they have nowhere else to go. I want to encourage domestic violence victims to come to those of us gathered here today for help. We know that following a disaster, abusers might feel emboldened to take advantage of their victims because they mistakenly believe that our attention is focused elsewhere. We are here to tell you that those abusers are wrong. No one should feel compelled to remain in an abusive relationship just because the financial aid check is in the abuser's name. The Sheriff's Office recently received a grant to fund 3 positions in our Crime Victims Assistance Unit. These people are here to help link you to governmental resources, temporary housing, and any other help you may need. You may contact our Crime Victims Unit by calling 713-274-9369. As we enter Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I want to encourage all Harris County residents to be vigilant and help us protect our neighbors who are suffering abuse. Domestic violence is not concentrated to any specific age or gender. It can happen to anyone. Tomorrow is National Night Out. Take this opportunity to get to know all your neighbors. It's a perfect excuse to knock on a neighbor's door. Introduce yourself and share your phone number. Let them know you are paying attention and that you care. Abusers thrive in the dark, and they do all they can to keep their victims isolated. Don't let them. You may feel like you may be interfering if you get involved and reach out, but your support makes a difference. Because many times these cases end up becoming homicide cases. This is also learned behavior where the children are being impacted daily and many times grow up to be the next generation of abusers. It also impacts their growth and development in their own lives. Buenos días y gracias por unirse con nosotros. Quiero agradecer a Crime Stoppers de Houston por esta reunión y por llamar atención sobre el grave problema que es la violencia doméstica. Durante este mes y a través de todos los días del año, es importante informar y recordar que no aceptamos la violencia doméstica. La meta es de luchar hasta llegar al punto donde no existe tolerancia para este crimen. En la oficina del sheriff del condado de Harris tomamos muy serio nuestro deber de proteger a aquellos que están siendo abusados por alguien que se supone que los debe de amar. Esta es una de las responsabilidades más importantes que tenemos. Por eso tenemos una unidad de violencia doméstica específicamente encargada de investigar estos casos de abuso. Y aunque el trabajo de esta unidad es siempre importante, es especialmente crítico después de un desastre natural como lo que fue el huracán Harvey. Los desastres naturales desplazan a la gente, dejándolos a luchar por la estabilidad y normalidad. Para las víctimas de violencia doméstica, esto hace aún más difícil escapar de sus abusadores en muchas ocasiones. Según la Organización Mundial de la Salud, la pérdida de propiedad, desentrañar las redes sociales y la pérdida de ingresos aumentan el estrés durante los desastres. Estas circunstancias pueden hacer que las víctimas de abuso doméstico sean especialmente vulnerables. Después de un desastre, las víctimas de abuso pueden sentir que no tienen otra opción que permanecer solamente con su abusador. Algunos que anteriormente escaparon de sus abusadores pueden sentir la presión de regresar por razones financieras o porque ahora creen que no tienen a dónde ir. Quiero alentar a las víctimas de la violencia doméstica a acudir a los que nos reunimos aquí esta mañana para pedir ayuda. Sabemos que después de un desastre, los abusadores pueden sentirse con poder de tomar ventaja de sus víctimas porque creen erróneamente que nuestra atención está enfocada en otras partes. Estamos aquí para decirles que esos abusadores están equivocados. Nadie debe sentirse obligado a permanecer en una relación abusiva, solo porque el cheque de ayuda financiera está en el nombre del abusador. Recientemente, la oficina del sheriff recibió fondos para financiar 3 posiciones en nuestra unidad de asistencia para víctimas de crimen. Estas personas están aquí para ayudar a conectarse con recursos gubernamentales, alojamientos temporales y cualquier otra ayuda que pueda necesitar. Puede comunicarse con esta unidad de víctimas de crimen llamando al 713-274-9369. Al entrar en el mes de concientización sobre violencia doméstica, quiero animar a todos los residentes del condado de Harris que estén vigilantes y ayudarnos a proteger a nuestros vecinos que están sufriendo abuso. La violencia doméstica no es concentrada en alguna comunidad, sino le puede pasar a cualquier persona. Mañana es National Night Out. Aproveche esta oportunidad para conocer a sus vecinos. Es una excusa perfecta para llamar a la puerta de un vecino, presentarse y compartir su número de teléfono y hacerlos saber que están poniendo ojo y atención, porque muchas veces los abusadores prosperan en la oscuridad y hacen todo lo que pueden para mantener a sus víctimas aisladas. No dejes que os hagan eso. Muchas gracias.
Thanks, Sheriff. Good morning, everybody. Well, first of all, let me just say that it's an honor to be here with everyone to stand up against domestic violence, domestic terrorist people that hold their entire family, their children, their spouses, their partners, their parents hostage, with the belief that they can just do what they want. These victims are not chattel, they're not property, they're human beings that have every right to live free of fear and free of violence. And I'm proud to stand with all these professionals that say enough is enough. One of the things that I've noticed as one of the newest Houstonians is that just in the city of Houston, the Houston Police Department, we have over 22,000 reports of domestic violence every year. And out of those 22,000 reports of domestic violence, we made about 4,000 arrests in 2016. One of the things that I've been discussing with the district attorney, and we were hoping to actually talk about today, but I just want to put people on notice, is that that's not good enough. When people call 911 because they're being abused, one of the things that should come out of that 911 call is an end to the abuse right then and there. And I can promise you in the next few weeks, we will be changing our policy at the Houston Police Department that when we come to a residence, a business, or any location where there is a victim of domestic violence, someone, i.e. the person that's the aggressor, the person that's the violator, the person that's the abuser, will be going to jail. Because we don't want to just focus on prosecution. What we want to focus on is preventing the next murder victim in this city, where every week, on average, one person is murdered at the hands of a domestic abuser. And the one thing that we want to guarantee when we change this policy moving forward in the upcoming days and the next few weeks is that when we are noticed, given notice of someone being abused, of a victim, and we respond and we find a suspect, that suspect that night will not get an opportunity to re-victimize or murder that innocent person. And so, word to the wise, the law is changing in terms of our policy, in terms of how we aggressively go after you. And in the next few days, if not next couple of weeks, the Houston Police Department, hopefully with the support, which I know that Kim Ogg is in support, will be changing our policy that when we come, we're not going to focus on a perfect case. We're not going to focus on prosecution. We're going to focus on making sure that the person that called us, that's being abused, that's being terrorized, will not be murdered, abused, or terrorized on the night that the Houston Police Department was called. And so I want to thank the service providers that provide safe haven for the victims. There is a place for you to go. There is help for you. All of our professionals here have plenty of assets, plenty of locations where we can find a safe haven for you. You do not have to put up with any type of abuse, whether it's physical, psychological, or emotional. We stand with you, we believe you, and we will be there for you. And lastly, we know that SB 4, the so-called anti-sanctuary city law, is a law where a lot of people are afraid to call. There's a lot of political theater going on with that law, and some people are trying to make people believe that are victims or witnesses of crime that they cannot be calling 911 because they might find themselves deported. Let me be very clear. One of the only things that I support in SB 4 is the fact that it strictly prohibits, by law, in statute, from law enforcement from asking any victim or witnesses to a crime, domestic violence certainly being a crime, of their immigration status. So regardless of what you hear, SB 4 prohibits, by statute, law enforcement, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, county law enforcement, from asking the victim or a witness to any crime, domestic violence being one of those crimes, about your immigration status. You are in fact protected regardless of your immigration status. So a las víctimas de la violencia doméstica, quiero que sepan del Departamento Policiaco de Houston, nuestros colegas con el sheriff y todos nuestros colegas aquí en el condado de Harris County, estamos aquí para decir basta ya. No vamos a permitir que nuestra comunidad, nuestras mujeres, nuestros hijos, nuestras madres, nuestras familias sean terrorizados por abusadores. Quiero que sepan que en estos próximos días y semanas el Departamento Policiaco de Houston va a cambiar su policía. Si vamos a una escena, en una casa, en un negocio, en cualquier lugar, donde encontramos la víctima de la violencia doméstica, esa noche lo que le voy a garantizar que este departamento, alguien va a ir preso, el abusador va a ir preso. El año pasado, en la ciudad de Houston, el Departamento Policiaco de Houston respondió a más de 21,000 casos de violencia doméstica y solamente 4,000 personas fueron presas. Lo que nosotros vamos a decir en estos días, que en los próximos días o semanas vamos a cambiar como vamos a esas escenas, y le vamos a decir que de ahora adelante, cuando vayamos a esas escenas, no vamos a enfocar solamente en la persecución del sospechoso. Lo que debemos garantizar es que cuando vayamos a ese lugar, a ese hogar, alguien va a ir preso, el abusador va a ir preso, porque queremos garantizar a la persona que es la víctima del abusador que esa noche no va a morir. No vamos a regresar a una escena o alguien ha perdido su vida porque el abusador no fue preso. La última cosa que quiero que sepa esta comunidad, que hay mucho temor por el SB4 a llamar a la policía. Escúchenme, si usted es una víctima de un crimen o un testigo a un crimen y la violencia doméstica es un crimen, la ley SB4 no permite que los oficiales le pregunten a una víctima, a un testigo, sobre su estatus inmigratorio. No nos importa si es inmigrante legal o ilegal, indocumentado, no importa. La ley SB4 protege a las víctimas y a los testigos. O sea, sí, adelante, aquí estamos a sus órdenes, and I look forward to any side questions. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. I'm Rebecca White. I'm the president and CEO at the Houston Area Women's Center. For 40 years, the Women's Center has helped individuals affected by domestic and sexual violence in their efforts to move their lives forward. We provide shelter, counseling, and advocacy to support them in building lives free from the violence they've suffered. We are also working every day out in our community to end violence before it begins through our community education and prevention programs. Each year during October, we redouble our efforts to raise awareness about domestic violence and about the services that are available to those who experience it. This year, during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we also think of those who have been affected by extreme weather events in our area and across the country and the hemisphere. We know from research that has been done after Hurricanes Andrew and Katrina that calls about domestic violence rise sharply in the wake of those storms. We are prepared and we are ready to offer our services to all who need them. Help is a hotline call away. One call. Last year, we fielded 43,000 calls on our hotlines. They're available 24/7. The number is 713-528-2121. That call connects you to all of the services you've heard about here today and to services all across our area. We are one of a number of service providers who serve survivors of domestic and sexual violence. As we partner with other community members in rebuilding our community post-Harvey, we take hope from the courage and resiliency that we see in the lives of our clients every day. Survivors of domestic violence experience storms that threaten their lives throughout the year, every day. 74% of Texans have either themselves or know a close family member or friend who's experienced domestic violence. It's out there. Those storms are raging, but as you've heard, we often don't see them. But we, again, take great hope in what we see from survivors. They flee their homes with nothing, and they go on to rebuild healthy, safe lives. Their successes give us hope as we work with others in our community to rebuild after Harvey. There are 3 messages that we want every survivor of domestic violence to know. First, it's not your fault. You have done nothing to deserve the violence you've experienced. Secondly, we want you to know you're not alone. And finally, help is available. As we stand here, we are grateful that we are not alone, and we are proud to stand here with these partners and others who are not in this room, each of whom plays a vital role in ending domestic violence, serving survivors, preventing at the front end, and holding perpetrators accountable. We all have a role to play if we're going to be successful. We are also, we know, very fortunate to do our work in a community that is so generous. So we thank you all to your many life-saving contributions to the work that we do to make our community safer for all. Another board member.
Good morning. My name is Greg Mooney. I'm a managing partner with Verizon, and I'm very proud to be able to speak on behalf of Verizon on our continued commitment to combating domestic violence, whether that's through education, whether that's through awareness, or through partnerships. This has been a very important issue for Verizon since 2001. One major tool that we like to use is called our Hope Line. And Hope Line is when our community members donate their phones and accessories to Verizon, and we are able to take that equipment and put it in the hands of those who needs them. Or we're able to recycle that and use that money and put it back into the community. I want to tell you a little bit about our 2016 Hope Line campaign. We actually collected over 570,000 phones in the year 2016. What we're able to do is we're able to recycle that and take $8 million and put it back into the community with the aim of educating, supporting, and bringing awareness towards domestic violence. Our employees are also rallying behind the cause. We're members of several organizations and campaigns in order to address this issue. Crime Stoppers has been a key partner. We've been a partner over 7 years now, and we're going to continue that, so that's very important. And I'm proud to say that we are giving back $20,000 to Crime Stoppers in order to continue this great partnership we had. With that being said, thank you so much.